Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Don Donald, and this is Motivation on Tees. On this episode today, we will be dealing with what money cannot buy: happiness. Money can't buy you happiness. If you think this statement is a hoax, find out what the dying ask for the most, that they see before they die. It's not their money, it's not their houses, it's not their lands, it's not their cars, and it's definitely not their bank accounts or their financial investments. You know what it is? It's their loved ones. They want to see and feel their loved ones last before they close their eyes in death. And why? That confirms the truth that in their lifetime, their money, and all their material possessions were not their true source of joy and happiness. Yes, they weren't. Money can't buy you happiness. Happiness and the things that really matter in life can't be bought with money. Again, money can buy you power, prestige and praise. It can even buy you more money, more fun and more stuff, but it can never buy you that long-lasting joy which some call happiness. Yes, I agree, there is a time when money can gladden your heart a little and put a little smile on your face. For example, I grew up in a family ridden with poverty and its pains, and I knew how happy I always felt each time my mom succeeded in buying us food to eat. I always felt so happy. Now, it took money for my mom to buy those foods to make us full and happy. Again, when we fell sick, money was needed to take us to the hospital, and when our health was restored, we were happy. So in that sense, you could say, we bought food, health and happiness with money. But here is the difference. When you are poor or average like I was, and you lack the means or the money to meet those life's most pressing needs, like food, health, shelter and clothing, you definitely would feel happy each time any of those needs or pain points were met by whatever means. But when you are not poor or needy, but you think having more money, not for your basic needs, but for your greed of buying a mansion, an exotic car, designer clothes, for the purpose of being happy, you missed it. You just missed it. Money can never buy you happiness as a rich person in that regard. I'm showing you here today on this episode, one of the rarest gems of life, a very precious gift of nature, which all the money in the world put together can never buy. And that gem is happiness. A lot of people think money is everything in life, and that money can buy everything in the world. But they are so wrong. First, I want to tell you this morning, that money is not everything, and second, money can't buy everything in the world. It's so unfortunate that men think that money is the true and the only source of happiness and satisfaction. So they chase after money every day of their lives in want of happiness and satisfaction, only to find out later on down the road when they do get the money that alas and at last, I have gotten the money, but can't still find happiness or satisfaction in it. Oh my, indeed, money can't buy you happiness. What a painful experience that would be when they discover that. After they have sacrificed so much to get the money so they can be happy in life. Let me tell you this morning, I'm not against the search for wealth, but I'm against the search for wealth for happiness. Because I know, there is no happiness in wealth. As a matter of fact, happiness is wealth, but wealth is not happiness. Do you know how many rich men and women that are sadists on this planet today, and find it so hard to even laugh, and that suffer deep inner stress and anxiety, and are depressed and commit suicide every day around the world? Do you know? You can't even believe the figures. And yet, happiness should have been their antidote to anxiety, depression and suicide if money gives it or can buy it. Knowing that, no happy man or woman ever depresses or commits suicide. It's not possible. That's the candid question. If money gives happiness, why then do the rich depress and die suicidally every day around the world? Money obviously can't buy everything, as it can't buy for the rich even an ounce of happiness. I will tell you without being spiritual or religious here today where you can derive happiness naturally from, as a natural man or woman of the earth, regardless of your financial status. But before I tell you that, I once heard a story of a certain rich man who was dying on a sick bed somewhere, and the heavy cry he had on his mouth was, "Life is useless. Life is useless." And when a close relation inquired to know why he cried, "Life is useless," he said, "You won't understand, son, all my life, I did everything within my power, took all the risks in the world, and made all the commitments, I worked hard so much, so I can make it big and be a happy man in life. But lo and behold, I made all the money, got all the cars, acquired all the lands, and built all the houses, but I never became a happy man even for one day of my life from day one, right up to this day." What a sorrowful scenario. What heartbreaking news. Happiness is a gift of nature. It's a gift of life. But it's also a choice. The trouble is, People look for happiness where it's not, and where it may never be found. Sadly, they look for happiness outside of themselves, whereas true happiness is inside of you. And even when it looks like you can find happiness outside of you, it still depends on you. How you relate with and manage the things outside that can bring you happiness. Let me tell you, don't just look for happiness in the material things of life such as money, possessions, fame, recognition, relationship, friendship, pets, food, fashion, people, praise, and even love from loved ones. Yes, even your loved ones should not be the god of your happiness. That without them and their love your life is shattered completely, until you can't find your way back ever again to be happy within yourself. Do not put your happiness in the hands of anybody or any pet. The truth is that you can never find sustainable happiness outside of you and your relationship with the things outside. What is happiness? Happiness is gladness, it's cheerfulness, it's satisfaction, it's joy, it's blessedness, it's peace, it's fulfillment, it's merriment, it's contentment, and best of all, happiness is a spirit. But all these qualities of happiness are personal, peculiar, and internal. You can never get them outside. That's the great mistake a lot of people make, looking for these ingredients outside. It must come from within you. It's your choice. Because nothing outside of you can really gladden, satisfy, rejoice, fulfill, and complete you like yourself and your relationship with those things. Let me tell you point blank today, you don't need anything outside of you to be happy in life. You don't need money to be happy. You don't need a mansion to be happy. You don't need exotic cars to be happy. You don't need designer shoes, belts, bags, wristwatches, and clothes to be happy. You don't need fancy technology and electronic gadgets to be happy. You don't need boats or jets to be happy. You don't need position or promotion to be happy. You don't need job or trade to be happy. You don't need family to be happy. You don't need friends to be happy. You don't need love to be happy. You don't need food and delicacies to be happy. You don't need anything this world has to offer to be happy. All you need is yourself and your relationship with things. And if you can't make yourself happy, nobody in this whole wide world can. Simply because, happiness is a personal choice. You alone decide whether to be happy in life or not. Have you ever wondered why you were often happy when you were a child, and yet, you didn't have much, didn't know much, and didn't even understand the value of all these material things of life you seek so much today for happiness, especially if you came from a humble home like myself? I never had any of these mundane things of life growing up. My parents couldn't afford them, but I was a very happy child growing up. Why? The question is, why was I always happy as a child when I didn't have all these things that people say make one happy today? What was the source of my happiness then? Or you can even remember a time not too long ago maybe, when you didn't have all these things you madly seek after today but were still happy. Why were you happy then but no longer now? Were you under some influence then? For your information, there is happiness in drugs and alcohol. I will give you 2 reasons why you were happy then than now. Number 1, at that time, you and I were not yet given to these opinions and expectations of the society that happiness is only possible when you have the money, when you can buy that your dream car, acquire that decent home, and stuff. We were not yet sold out to that lie and belief that getting these things is the only thing that can make us feel better and happier in life. That's the first reason why we were happier then. Number 2, and finally, you and I were happy without these things at that time, because of where we were focusing on, at that particular stage of our life. And where were we focusing on? We were focusing on what was there, and not what wasn't there. We were focusing on what we had at the moment, and not what we didn't have, and wanted to have. And the truth of life is, if you focus on what is already there, you will always definitely find happiness. Because happiness is the only thing that is always there. I show you how to always be happy today. Focus on what is there, not on what is not there. See, happiness is a personal choice. Happiness is strictly an individual thing. It's never collective or subjective to something else outside of you. You must decide to be happy, and be ever intentional about it every day of your life in relating with your environment. Because, in life, whatever you perceive as reality becomes your reality. If you perceive material things to be the source of your happiness, you must lose your current peace and happiness in search of material things. Sure, you will. Only to find out later that you are searching for what is truly not. I will tell you these few things, and I will end this episode of this video series. A word is enough for the wise. If you want to be happy in life, money can't buy it for you. Happiness is up to you. Because is within you. All the peace, happiness and joy you could ever hope for in life, is in you as I speak. Only take that initiative within you to be happy today. I need you to remind yourself every day that you alone are the ones solely in charge of your happiness. I need you to tell yourself every moment that you will never let anything outside of yourself control you and your happiness. Create a life that feels good to you on the inside of you first, and see it reflect on the outside. Happiness is not in big things, happiness is in little things. I challenge you today. Look within you and find those little things that can make you happy every day of your life. For me, I will never trade my happiness for money or anything in the world. I will see you in the next video. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do, to join the community for free in helping this generation remain motivated in all their life's endeavors, and also make sure you hit the notification bell, so you are notified each time we come up with a new video. Also like, leave a comment, and share our videos with your friends and family if you find them helpful. Thank you.